Hey guys, this is Courtney, and today I wanted to give an announcement that I am going to be rebranding my channel name and my whole brand, website, all of that to Cosmic Clarity Astrology. So make sure that you guys go ahead and write that down, save that information in case you ever do search for my channel and can't find it no longer under this name. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, and that's happening on April 20th in the sign of Taurus at 21 degrees. This is a rare transit that happens around roughly every 14 years, and it is one of the most significant events that's happening in 2024 that astrologers are looking forward to. This is really exciting because both Jupiter and Uranus can have positive energies. Jupiter especially. Uranus is a little bit of a wild card. So when they come together, these slow planets that really do affect kind of the way our society functions, when they finally come together and unite, they almost have a little rendezvous and give us the potential to have some kind of breakthrough or timeline jump essentially in this lifetime. So I see this almost as like a quantum leap, a breakthrough, a time of hope and prosperity and progress and reinvention or simply invention into something new. And so this is a really exciting time. And we're going to go over what this is going to look like for all of the rising signs. What I'm getting or what I'm going to be predicting for you guys is what you're going to be blessed with or what the breakthrough is going to be for you happening in April. It's very likely that we're already starting to kind of feel some of these energies shifting and these storylines lining up so that throughout the month of April, this energy becomes more obvious, more potent. And you might see something significant happen in the month of April, especially if you have any angles, most likely the angular houses. So like the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th house cusps around 21 degrees. Or if you have especially Taurus 21 degrees, which is where this is happening, or the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, you're going to feel this really significantly. And then you'll also still feel it if you have that also. Planets also around 21 degrees of earth or water signs. So those are who it's going to be really impacting the most. If it's not hitting anything in your chart at all, then maybe you won't really get a huge jolt or a huge breakthrough. Maybe you're doing just fine, or maybe it's just not your time for that. And then others are going to notice a really significant shift. But as a society, as a whole, we can start to see things progress, but it's usually something that we can most clearly see retroactively. So once we've kind of passed this point in time, years later, we can look back and see, oh, that is a turning point for us. That was marking this time in history, or there was some sort of advancement that was heralding a new chapter into our lives as a collective or even in our personal lives. So it's a really, really exciting time. Jupiter is the great benefic. It's the bringer of blessings and children and abundance, and it's a very social planet as well. So it has sorry, I just saw my cat walk outside. So it has a lot of potential to bring in new relationships and connections and opportunities. And then Uranus is a planet of innovation, of progress, a little bit of rebellion as well, change, surprise, technology. And both of them tend to bring a lot of clarity, a lot of wisdom, and the potential for great healing. So I'm excited to see how this can impact us on a more personal scale. But before we do that or talk about each sign, we're going to jump into first discussing what this has looked like in the past, and then maybe get like a really quick overview of what this could look like for the collective. So the last time Jupiter and Uranus came together was in January 2001, really early in January. So it's really something that you would have felt in December and the first week of January. So these planets came together in the sign of Pisces. And during this period of time, we had SpaceX become the first privately owned company to launch, orbit, and recover a spacecraft. So this is extremely Uranian, and obviously Jupiter is also about things progressing and moving forward, more so from a place of personal growth, societal growth, internal expansion as well as spiritual expansion. But and also Jupiter has a very strong link with things that are foreign. So bringing various elements together, and Uranus also has this type of quality where we are kind of bridging different types of maybe technologies or fields and kind of melding them together and creating something new and unique. And so we can see a lot of unique advancements through the coming together of these two planets. So we could see here that obviously this had a lot to deal with things progressing in terms of leaving this world, which I love that because it feels very kind of Aquarian and Pisces in nature, that there's a technological advancement that quite literally has us leave Earth, which I think is super cool. Also during this Jupiter Uranus conjunction in 2011, we had Obama repeal a policy that banned people who are gay from openly saying they were gay or joining the military under that pretense or something of that nature. So I'm probably not wording that correctly, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. So obviously this is very much a Piscean theme and also Aquarius. We can really see the blend of the two because Uranus is there, but we can really see how people who were previously considered underdogs are getting some kind of breakthrough. And that's common with Jupiter and Uranus. We can see reversals of roles and fortunes. So people, especially who were winning and who had the upper hand, but who were not good or it was outdated or it was wrong, we can see those things start to have a little bit of a shift happen with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And I think that's really even more emphasized because Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the people, we are really in an age or an era where the emphasis is on the collective and the individual, the layperson, and not the governmental forces. And so it's a time of empowering each person and fighting for our own unique rights. And so we can start to see how maybe some power can shift into the hands of the people, especially healers, because Jupiter and Uranus together are both very spiritual planets. And so not only are we more adept at healing things that we might be stuck in terms of cyclical patterns and things that have been just feeling like we cannot get out of them, Uranus and Jupiter together can really, again, jump this timeline. It can get us out of some cycle of suffering. It can help us see things from a higher perspective, give us solutions to existing problems. It can give us this higher level awareness that our human brain doesn't have access to on an ordinary level or on an ordinary day. So it's really an opportunity for us to open up to extra senses. We might feel quite literally more sensitive during this time, and the information that comes to us should really be noted because it is significant for the path forward. The previous time that Jupiter and Uranus came together in the same sign as Taurus was in May of 1941, and during this period of time was kind of in the middle of World War II. Nazi Germany was at its height. There was a lot going on in terms of violence and oppression. And during this period of time, May in particular, the British, I don't know what you would call them, government, elected Winston Churchill. And he became the person who a few years later finally led to the demise of the war and of the Axis powers and Nazi Germany in 1945. So basically, the person who helped reverse the roles of power at that period of time, who helped end the war that was obviously horrible, and I think you can again see here how like the good wins. So it's like the evil was winning at that time, but when Winston was elected, when things basically set into motion for there to be a reversal of power, was the same time Jupiter and Uranus came together. So I think that's very fascinating how these things happen. And so I think that also really goes to show that whatever happens this month is not necessarily going to be an immediate resolution of something. We can feel like we have a breakthrough. We can have this really important piece click into place. But again, we often won't see how that is so significant until we look back on this period of time retroactively and we can see, okay, yeah, that was the moment in time where I made this different choice or I had this new perspective that once I followed that path led me to a completely different reality. That timeline jump, that reversal of roles, that reversal of fortune, and enhanced my life to a really significant degree, or made a really noticeable difference in my life where a chapter was almost turned, but in a positive way, a resolution of something in a positive way. So it's really important right now not to put too much pressure on this period of time of seeing these amazing blessings and results, because those could take time to unfold, but those really important characters or pieces of the puzzle will click in together during this period of time when the Jupiter and Uranus come together in our chart. One other thing I think is important to note is that sometimes we also can't fully understand how significant this is for ourselves, but even more so from other people looking at our own lives. So we might, let me give you an example. So also when Jupiter and Uranus came together in Taurus, during this period of time in May 1941, the world's first programmable automatic computer was invented, which obviously sets the stage for this huge technological boom that we have had later, even more so now with Pluto and Aquarius. I think that's something that we can really get a sense of in this period of time. In April, there's probably going to be some technological advancements, maybe with AI or something else, where that sets the precedent for something much bigger later down the line. But there's going to be people who don't get it when it first comes out. Like when that computer first arrived, maybe there are people who didn't understand the purpose. This was 1941. This is a long time ago. So I don't know what level of technology people were aware of at that time, or what they thought it would be used for, if they even knew it existed. So there's a lot that I feel like could be shifting for us, even as a collective, but in our personal lives as well, where things that we have this guided intuition to do or to follow, it's so outside the box, it's so progressive, it's so ahead of its time that it's more likely to not be well received or to be misunderstood or even just kind of downplayed before it reaches its full pinnacle of success. And then people years from now will see how significant that thing really was. And I think that we can see that also with the example of Winston Churchill. He was elected during that period of time, or he was, moved into office or voted for at that period of time when that conjunction took place. But I don't know if anyone really knew that he was going to be kind of that big turning point in the war, for example, or that really significant player in the ending of a massive cycle of despair and destruction. So we can see how these things set into place now, but aren't always fully understood. So just really keep that in mind. So during these Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions, we can typically expect to have some kind of idea come through for us that we can bring to fruition. And that means that, again, the idea doesn't mean that the whole thing is completed. The results are not always here right away, although sometimes they will be. If you've been having an existing problem, you can come up with really powerful solutions to that problem, and you can have, again, some kind of turning point, especially in concerns with Taurus themed topics. So we're going to talk about that for each sign, because it's going to depend on what house you have Taurus in, the kind of problems or breakthrough or gift or blessing you could have as a result of these downloads or changes that you make in your life. But also, just talking about Taurus themes in general, this is very much related to the material world. This is related to our financial security, the kind of food that we eat, the cattle that we have on this earth, the nature itself, our clothes, our sense of security, our sense of stability, our sense of independence as well, being able to truly be autonomous in every sense of the word, our sense of worth and value and the feeling of what we bring to the table, and our own kind of inner resolution to be consistent or work hard or see things through and have positive results with things. So all of those are very Taurus topics. And so we can see that these this Jupiter Uranus conjunction can have some kind of breakthrough or shift concerning the material world or concerning those things that I just mentioned. One of the things that I think is really important with something like this is that we need to be aware of how impulsive an energy like this can be. So there are lots of benefits to this. This is a time of blessings, of breakthrough, of radical shifts that can really enhance our lives. But also sometimes what happens with the exuberance of Jupiter and the progressive, rebellious nature of Uranus, when they come together, they can sometimes not really see how they have maybe blind faith and optimism in the value of change and revolution, because that can be helpful, yes, of course, but also there can be an element of throwing everything out, the baby out with the bathwater, when there are things that are actually functioning and maybe just need revision, when there's wisdom from the past that we need to carry forward, but instead they're just rooting for what is new and progressive. So we really need to keep our heads kind of balanced and look at things through an unbiased perspective while still having faith and optimism. So can we look at the facts? Can we look at the data while still believing that there is a higher possibility and potential, but not getting so blinded by our faith that we refuse to acknowledge, real issues, or refuse to look at the entire equation and be truthful and honest with ourselves and others. Another aspect of this is that we can sometimes get a little bit overzealous and overcommit ourselves. We can scatter ourselves. We can not really have a necessary focus on this energy, which is interesting because it is in Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign, which tends to be very focused, very kind of committed to a particular vision or habit or way of being, so much so that they can almost have trouble, being too stagnant, or not stagnant necessarily, but like unwilling to change when it's required, unwilling to adapt. So this energy helps shake that up. It helps us adapt. But also, I think that this balance could be helpful because it could help maybe kind of focus these two planets. But that is a little bit of a risk where we might kind of scatter our focus, energy, attention, our money, our resources, and we could come to later regret that. So just being aware that change comes at a cost. Saying yes to something means saying no to something. Looking at the entire picture of things and being willing to listen to yourself with logic. So I think that's super, super important. I think this also has a very creative and imaginative energy, which is something I really love because it helps us tap into our higher mind, our higher consciousness, our higher self, so that we can reinvent or reset or renew something in our life. So this could look like revamping something old or starting something new, but that still reinvigorates us. So there's this energy of something coming back to life, especially in the house that this conjunction is happening in for you. So I think that's all I want to say about the general energy of this conjunction. Let's go ahead and jump into what this is going to look like for all the rising signs. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to comment and like this video, share with your friends so that we can get my channel out there. And I appreciate you guys so much. All right, and last but not least, we have my Pisces rising and sun. This Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is happening in Taurus in your third house on April 20th. And it's going to give you guys some blessings and timeline breakthroughs, kind of timeline jumps, I guess, and breakthroughs in your life that are in the area of your mind, because the third house where this is happening is the area of our internal dialogue, the way that we communicate with ourselves and others, the way that we learn and process information, make meaning out of things. And the first card I pulled for you was the Devil in reverse, which is a card around limiting beliefs. But in reverse, it means that you are releasing those limiting beliefs. So things that you felt like have been true for you, I feel like you're going to start to see that that actually wasn't true. Maybe there were certain patterns of thinking or certain things that you thought were going to happen, or you saw a limited number of options, and it's like these patterns, these thoughts kept you on a certain path and was like, okay, this is what I need to be doing, or this is what's possible for me because of these limiting beliefs. But I feel like they might have been really subtle. These could have been they could sometimes be obvious, like very obvious fears or insecurities about what would happen if I did this, if I tried this. But I feel like for many of you, you might realize that you were actually putting a cap on your potential for something in your life, on your potential for love and happiness, on your potential for financial success, on your potential for career growth, on your potential for where you can live, what your health can feel like, what your body can feel like. I'm feeling like there is some kind of limitation that you had, that you were accepting as a paradigm for you, that you are now starting to shift and see that that was not the cap. That was a perspective that you can now think differently about. And that's going to open up a lot of new horizons for you. I pulled the Knight of Pentacles and the Four of Swords in reverse. So I feel like if you guys have felt like you haven't made some necessary progress on something substantial in your life, I'm really getting the sense that you guys are finally moving again. The third house is also the house of mobility, of travel, of going from one place to another. And so it's like we're taking our energy and putting it into momentum and consistency. And I'm really seeing that with the Knight of Pentacles and Four of Swords. You guys may have felt like you were taking steps forward and then going here, and then you were confused, and then like you're undermining your progress, maybe through your mind or through the way that you are seeing things. And I'm getting the sense that you guys are coming into a period of consistent action, of consistent forward movement towards a goal. And with the Four of Swords in reverse, you are no longer in the state of just reflecting and maybe being uncertain about something and needing to rest, needing time by yourself. That's probably always important for Pisces, but you might have felt like you were in the stage of contemplation. Does this align with me? Is this what I want? Is this where I'm going? How should I go about this? You were in the stage of ruminating about it, or kind of sitting on your hands, waiting for the right next steps. And now I'm seeing that that's no longer the phase that you're in. You are now in the phase of having clarity. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. This is my limiting belief that was getting in the way and making me feel like, oh, I should have gone this way, or an attachment that I had, some kind of unhealthy attachment to something that was preventing my progress. There's something clearing up. If there's an addiction, an attachment, a limiting belief, it's clearing up so that you can make your way forward. You can take physical steps, actual action in this life with the Knight of Pentacles in this consistent way. Because I feel like maybe you were taking action, but it was really haphazard or inconsistent. It was maybe a little bit scattered, because Pisces can have that energy. It can be like wanting it, and it's a mutable sign, and then the other day doesn't know if it wants it or doesn't know how to go about it. The energy levels can differ. I'm seeing this kind of evening out, and you guys being able to pace yourselves and consistently move forward onto something really significant. The end card that I have before I get to the other two is the Nine of Cups. So this is something that's a wish being fulfilled. So you guys are going to have something granted to you that you've been really wanting. So if you've been needing to make up your mind about something, or take action to accomplish something, or if you really, really want to achieve something, or have something, or be something, I'm seeing that that's what you guys are going to end up having. The Nine of Cups is one of the best cards in the deck. It is quite literally the genie in the bottle coming out to you and saying, what do you want? You can have that. But it's not something that's just going to manifest randomly. It's something with the Nine of Pentacles that you are taking steps towards changing in your life, pursuing in your life. If you want to have a kid, you are changing your diet. If you want to be better with money, you are changing the way that you manage and make money. If you're wanting to find love, you're changing the way that you put yourself out there. But you're starting from the mind. You're starting from the way that you think about things. You're removing that cap so that you can actually feel like, yes, I can have this thing. And this is how, and this is the path that I'm going to follow. And I have the clarity, the steps, I'm taking the steps, and I'm eventually going to end up with that desired result. I also pulled the Justice and the Queen of Wands, but these came out in reverse. So if things have felt like they have been really imbalanced in some way, with the Justice in reverse and the Queen of Wands in reverse, if you've been feeling like you've been lacking confidence, if you felt like, and I think this is probably why you were in the Four of Swords card at some point, where you were needing to do a lot of reflection and maybe internal alignment work. But I'm really getting a sense with these cards in reverse that something has felt maybe unfair or imbalanced, or like you weren't like getting the certain outcome that you wanted, or you felt like just like this lopsidedness, especially like something in your life that felt a little bit lopsided, out of balance, and then it was really like undermining your confidence. It was undermining your trust in yourself, your belief in yourself. So it's like maybe somebody in your life wasn't treating you fairly and it was making you insecure, or maybe you weren't getting enough recognition at work and it was making you doubt yourself. There's something here where it's like, can I do this? Like, am I good at this? Maybe I'm having trouble balancing something within myself, and that's making me not trust my own process and my own ability to stick with something. There's a sense of like, I don't know if I can move forward. I'm going to be inconsistent. I'm kind of all over the place, or I'm not getting enough external validation or internal validation. There's this feeling of like, just not really trusting in my own wisdom and my own ability to take action and my own confidence and ability to achieve a goal. And I'm seeing that that's going to finally be healed for you guys, because you're going to make different decisions or view things differently. And as a result, you're going to take action towards your goals, and you're going to see that you can have exactly what you want. Maybe the thing that you were working on, or the way that you were doing things before, or the person that you were with, or the job that you were at, maybe something around that wasn't the right fit for you, and that's going to change. Or the style or way of you being within relationship with that thing is going to change. So the way that you show up to that equation is going to change. And as a result, it's going to get you the goal that you want. So either way, it's going to differ from person to person, but I see you changing either way, because you're going to be, again, taking consistent action towards what it is that you want. Any messages for my Pisces? Big happy changes. I love that. So I feel like you are moving into more expansive energy. You are moving into more happy, abundant energy, and you're making choices and decisions and taking action from that place of happiness. And as a result, that's what's going to get you this really fulfilling desire, this wish that you have. Because I feel like a lot of what you were doing before was coming from the paradigm of fear or lack or scarcity or insecurity, lacking confidence. Like, you were coming from that mindset, and you were not going to manifest what you wanted from that mindset, which is why this Jupiter Uranus conjunction starts off in your third house and starts off with the devil in reverse. You have to change where you're starting from mentally in order to be able to make these necessary changes. You can't keep thinking the way that you thought, because it was like you're almost like running from something rather than being inspired and happy and pursuing something. And I'm seeing that start to shift for you. Okay, so I pulled the forgiveness, the creative spark, and co-creation. Yeah, I definitely feel this for you guys. The forgiveness card. I think that there was definitely something, again, imbalanced in your life. And it's almost like you need to either forgive yourself or forgive another person or forgive the company that you're working for. There's something in the past or in this situation that you're currently in where it's like you're holding on to something that you need to release and let go and forgive. And this, again, could very much be something that you have to do with yourself, where it's like, I forgive myself for not taking action. I forgive myself for not believing in myself. I forgive myself for participating in this. I forgive myself for being in that place of fear, or my, lower self, my shadow self that was reacting that way. Forgiving that, letting it go. And then from that, you're able to ignite your Queen of Wands, this creative spark energy, so you can start co-creating. I think you're going to have, again, this spark of intuition, this creative insight of like, yes, I'm inspired by this thing. I want to move towards this thing. I'm going to co-create that with the universe. And no one's better at that than a Pisces, because you guys are the visionaries. You guys are the imagination sign. You guys know how to get downloads. You know how to listen to things or see things that aren't there and create that vision of your future. So you're doing that with the universe. You're listening to the signs, to your intuition, and you're finally acting on it in this really powerful way. So I'm seeing you guys shifting your mindset a lot, and that is allowing you to take steps towards this complete wish fulfillment with the Nine of Cups. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Pisces. Before you hop off, I wanted to let you know I am changing my brand to Cosmic Clarity Astrology. So make sure that you save that name. If you want to make sure that you are going to see my videos on YouTube still, because I'll probably change up the branding colors and stuff, then you'll want to subscribe to my email list down below. And then I'll send all my videos out there along with additional astrology information. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my